My name is Evie. We're here today to interview a fabulous writer by the name of Isis, and which wrote Battle Wounds. We have a couple of critics here to express their opinions of the book, and we have Isis here herself to express the reason why and what inspired her to write it. Hello, Isis. It's a pleasure having you here today. I've actually purchased the book and read it, and it's touched me in a lot of personal ways.
Thank you.
So we're actually here today to discuss it a little bit more, and for me to ask you a couple questions. So what's inspired you to actually write the book?
Well, I've been writing since I was 16, poetry, and I just had a bunch of poems stacked up sitting under my bed one day, and I looked at it and I said, why do I have all this God-given talent just sitting here when I could share it with the world? You know what I mean? Because I know there's a lot of people that's going through things that I go through. You know, just like music, when you hear a song on the radio and you're like, oh, that's my jam. And certain songs you be like, you could feel it, and that's the same thing with poetry. You know.
And I see you decided to name it Battle Wounds. So what's the?
Well, the title is metaphorical because the term battle wound is like going through something and being scarred physically. But battle wounds to me and to my book means being internally scarred, emotional. You go through things and it leaves like a scar forever, you know what I mean? So
Very, very, very true.
the process really, you kind of decide what order you want the poems to go in. You know, editing, the cover, the photo shoot for the cover. The whole process took a lot longer than I expected it to take. It actually took 2 years.
Wow.
When you have a dream and a vision, you think like it's gonna go ASAP.
So what
But
was
there's
your
a process.
What was your opinion? What did you really think? How long did you think it was gonna take?
Like 3 months.
Yeah, then it turned into 2 years.
Yeah.
So, out of the book, what were you expecting to get out of it?
I just want to share it with people, and I so far get really good reviews. You know?
Speaking about that,
I'm happy with that.
We have a couple critics which are here to ask you questions and actually express to you, you know, what your book has done to them. So are you ready to hear the good and the bad? Okay. So Adicia, how was it that you got Battle Wounds in your hands? What made you pick this book out of any other book on the shelf?
Well, Isis is also a music artist. She writes and sings. And I met her through a mutual friend. And one day we just started talking, and she began to, confide in me and tell me some stuff about her. And we hit it off right then and there. Then later she told me about the book she was writing. So one day I was just like, okay, here's my money. Give me my book. I want to read it. And then I asked her to autograph it for me. And right then and there, I just started reading the book and fell in love with it.
So can you share with us one of your poems, one of her poems in which touched you the most?
Well, it's a lot of different poetries that touch me because she really goes into depth. So what I like about the book, a woman always go on an emotional roller coaster. And 1 minute she happy in the book, next minute she angry. It's like, okay. But I'll just read a little bit of Inner Emptiness. And it says, my soul has been depleted. I can't feel no more. It doesn't even matter if I was rich or poor. No happiness, no sadness, no anger no more. No emotions, no feelings. Too many times done been sore. Might be a little life in me left, but I'm not too sure. Trying to hold on to something that I can't feel no more. My mind is uncertain, no longer can I ignore, because I know that it was something that I don't felt before. My soul been depleted. I can't feel no more. Where talent once stirred, where tears once stood, once upon a time, everything was all good. Wanted to cry, I wish I could. Artistically devoted to something misunderstood. Wanting to soar high, buried my roots, dwelling on my past. And they go on and on. But getting to know her personally, it always put me in the mind of like, how could you go to that point when you feel like everything that was in you and you ain't got nothing left? But yet, it's one thing like I always go by, you could be shattered, but not broken. So I just like the fact how she allowed the things in her life to come. It shattered her, but it didn't break her. Sometimes she probably bent, but it didn't break her. So that's why I admire you for going ahead and just doing you, keeping it real, because you don't know who you're going to touch.
So Isis, as Alicia said earlier, you said when you grabbed the book, she was looking at you and you were looking like, okay, why is this girl looking at me? As she was reading the beginning of your book, was there any emotions or, you know, anything that you was thinking while she was reading your book?
I was looking at her, kind of staring to see her facial reactions, like, and she stopped and she was like, what are you looking at me for? And I was like, because I just want to see her facial reactions to really get a review, and it made me feel good. She didn't put the book down. And I kept staring like, when is she gonna put the book down? You know, and she just kept going page for page, and I was just like, wow.
Wow. Now that we've heard a woman's perspective from Alicia, we're gonna move on to Phil and see what a man would think of that woman.
Hi, Phil.
Hey.
Thank you
so
for
nice.
reading my book.
Oh, pleasure's mine. I really love the book. It's very hard to get into details without me being a very, you know, say I'm very attached to it in a way, because you spoke on many things that I really felt that it was in the back of my mind, but then you put it on paper and I was just like, that you actually did that. And from a man's point of view, you never see these diaries being put out there for the world to view. You use so much montage in this, like so much imagery that I got from just reading that little part that you read, and it's, I don't know, what were you speaking about that? What were you feeling? How were you feeling at that point?
Candyman?
Yes, the Candyman.
I'm artistic, so I like to use a lot of metaphor. And Candyman is, to be explicit, it's about prostitution. Not on my behalf, but as an artist, I view people around me, situations, things. And Candyman was kind of like, I don't know, you gotta read some of it for me to like really.
I would.
It's a short poem, but it's kind of cute. So, share with us.
I'm trying not to be explicit though, because I say she don't leave nothing out. But not gonna put you out there. The Candyman, page 27. Tricks are for kids, dreams are for suckers. Want to taste some poison? Might as well go ahead and hurt. Okay. I mean, if you want, you can read it to them, because it's very, very touching, as you could say.
Touching?
Yes, because I know a few people that's within that boundaries.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Candyman. Tricks are for kids, dreams are for suckers. Wanna taste some poison? Might as well go and fuck her. For the dove, she'll be a sucker. You could be a sour punch and she'll be your lemon head. As long as you got a dub, you could take her ass to bed. She'll taste you now and later for a piece of that lifesaver. Her big daddy dread is a supply and man. Supply and demand.
You don't get that in any of the books. You don't. And it's not until you actually on the block or in the streets that you understand, you know, what is going on. And that's where I'm saying this right here, this is the one in a million kind of a book right here. This is something that you really don't see at all. I know you touched on a couple of poems as you was ready, talking to her. What was that poem that we both agreed on, that you would like her to read? The one that we both have a common interest in.
The wedding band?
The wedding band.
Wedding band? Y'all was talking about wedding
Because
band?
you do have a lot of good love poems, you do.
Oh, okay. Let me put my alter ego voice on when I was in that emotion.
Yeah, so it's hard to flip, because you do flip-flop a lot in this. It's like, you were very happy, and then what happened? You just I like that.
So wedding band is like a woman, we've been hurt, and it's hard to fall back in love, you know what I mean? Because you're scared of just the typical every man's the same, you fall in love, you think, you know, he's different, and women go through a lot of emotions when it comes to that, and we always, since a little girl, had that fairy tale marriage picture in our mind, you know?
Very true.
So this one's called Wedding Band. Promise that you won't read me like a diary. Hire me, take the pain away, then fire me. Emotional, physical, mental is what I'm feeling. Kiss me on the lips, just a healing in the kiss. Just the thought to reminisce of the passion and the bliss. Fantasies to exceed my utmost reality. To believe in a dream what could possibly be. Now Superman, take my hand like baby, here I am. All the scars I washed clean, all the pain of what I seen. Had I never felt happy till I met my Superman. Wedding band, take my hand like baby, here I am.
Deep.
Wow.
Deep.
So speaking of the opinions and everything of everyone else, we have Benjamin Forbes here today. Hello, how you doing?
The book touched me in many ways because when I got into reading just the rough manuscript, I stopped and I was like, whoa, I met her, but it took me deeper into who she was as a person, and it's a few of them that stuck out to me, like pimp politics and this and that and next. I was like, a female writing from this perspective, like what has she really been through? And she started to tell me a story, like, you know, at first when we met, she was a little restricted, and as I get to hanging out with her, I tried to get her to open up because I told her that's all a part of selling the book. Like, people are gonna want to know your story. And surprisingly, I told her one day, like, I was just sitting in my office, I was like, I think you're gonna make Oprah one of these days. And she was like, what do you mean Oprah? I said, you have a story that the world needs to hear because people go through different experiences every day, and they want to tell their story, they don't know how to, and she could be a voice for it because there's a lot of women in the inner cities of America, throughout the world, that go through different things and they're not really allowed to voice their opinion.
So there's several poems in here. Is there any in particular in which really touched you, or that you could touch any of your personal experience with, or which one would you consider be like, this is my favorite one? Or if there's more than one, which one are they?
Yeah, every time I read one, I'm like, oh, this is the one right here. But then when you get to that stuff, let me read this. But it's a lot of, and one of my favorites was The Confined Mind. And then I like when she talked to God. Because when you read the book in the poetry, you be like, what? Well, I would ask you, what inspired you to put on paper? Because you keep it blood raw from what you done did in your past, like the absentee of a parent. A lot of people will take that anger and go a whole different route, but you use that, like, what was the motivation? What kept you that you was like, you know what, I'm gonna inspire somebody by my life story instead of go a different route?
I feel like how you brought up the God poem. I feel like I put it out there not just for me. I put it out there for other people because I know that this is my purpose on earth. I'm a godly and spiritual woman, and I just know this is my purpose. So I didn't want to hide anything. I put it out there not for myself, for other people.
And speaking on purpose, by you being like helping her with the book, do you think that you're a part of her purpose? Because I believe that things just don't happen just because. So by her coming to you and confiding with you, do you believe that you're a part of her purpose and like to get where she's trying to go?
Most definitely I do, because it's not by chance or accident that we met, and more proof is evident in that because we met, it was put off, she came back. So for me, I felt like my blessing came from using my resources, my know-how, and helping her to bring her dream through. And we were speaking offset when you told me, you just asked me some questions, and I said that I pretty much empowered her that something can take care of her for the rest of her life. So even if I move out of the picture, which I don't want to be, I want to continue to go with her. And I think that it's a beautiful project, and for her to open up to everybody, it gives everyone else a chance to experience with her things that they might have not know how to express themselves.